How's it going? I just had an incredible walk. I listened to the podcast between Jay Shetty and Tony Robbins. Um, and I just realized like how much this year of no plans isn't just a year of no plans. It's like I'm actually growing through doing less, which in the podcast, they talk a lot about making decisions, right? Making decisions, committing to it, and then resolve. And Tony has all of his like steps and procedures on like how to I don't know, like live a better life. He always has so many nuggets of information. His his demeanor, he has so much energy, like his vibe is wonderful. Like I love Tony and I highly recommend. I think he's doing like a Time to Rise or a summit event soon. I should have paid more attention, but I went to a couple of his events now, and the thing that I have to say that's the most incredible is the energy and everyone there is just alive. And this is one thing they say in this podcast is like we all need to keep growing. We all need to keep growing and changing and living a life that feels fulfilling, like doing something. It's not necessarily about finding your purpose. And they say, like, we all have many purposes, but it's also just about growing and changing. And I was thinking about this year of no plans, and I was like, man, making no plans, I feel like, okay, I'm not making any decisions. I'm not committing to anything. And I was kind of getting down on myself. I'm like, shoot, maybe I need to start making plans and doing more and then all of a sudden like the light bulb went off and I was like, no. The whole point of this year is to stop, is that I've recognized the pattern of anytime I take a big leap, change jobs, change places, I always have a backup plan. I always have a safety net. I always like when I left Jackson, or I'm sorry. Well, yeah, when I left Jackson, I knew I was going to work in yachting. Like I had all these plans, right? And so I recognize the pattern. My pattern is I take these huge leaps of faith, but I always have like a plan. I always have the safety net, right? And this year, I don't want to keep repeating that pattern because it's not getting me anywhere. I'm not growing. I'm not living my purpose or living my mission. And I think for me this year is changing those patterns, right? Changing that behavior so that I can become the person that does feel fulfilled in this life, that is living their mission, that is doing something that makes a difference in this world. And maybe that's just talking to YouTube every day, and hopefully a few people subscribe and like, share, and comment. And just, I don't know, get some nuggets of information from me, or maybe I lead you to people like Tony Robbins and Jay Shetty, and maybe they change your life. I just feel like there's something I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm taking this year to figure out what exactly that is. And I know I can't get there by repeating old patterns of taking this leap of faith, but like already having the job, already having the safety net, already having the place where I'm going to live. Like, so I'm basically, the year of no plans is I'm putting myself in the very uncomfortable middle. And when things are uncomfortable, we have to make a change, right? We have to make a switch. And so for me, the discomfort is that, I don't have a steady paycheck. I don't know where I'm gonna live. Um, I those are probably the two main ones. You know, I have friends and family, and I have friends all over the world, which is such a blessing. Um, so it's like I know if, how do I say this? If I go to a place and it doesn't feel right, and say like the next town over, like my cousin lives or something, like I'll go see my cousin for like a week and then recalibrate. But that's the whole point, right? Like finding the place that you want to live and finding the place that you want to um live your life, or maybe it's travel, maybe like a nomadic lifestyle is what's destined for me. But I'll never know until I sit in this uncomfortable middle. And I was kind of thinking, because like Tony and Jay were saying, you have to make decisions. Just if you feel stuck, it's because you're not making any decisions. And you're making excuses on why. Like, oh, I'm stuck in this relationship, or I'm stuck in this job, or I'm stuck in this place, or I'm stuck, whatever it is, it's because you won't make the decision to get unstuck. And so many people, I think, are living in this world, living in this reality in their brain that has been created by them, but also because we were conditioned that way, right? I was conditioned that I was supposed to like grow up, get a job, raise a family, live in like my same town for the rest of my life. And when travel came into my brain, it was always like, well, when I retire, I'll travel. And it's like, who told me that story? And I started creating patterns around that conditioning of how I thought my life was supposed to be. And ever since I was basically like 25-ish, I started questioning those patterns and questioning life and questioning all of these things. And this year is really like I've made a lot of decisions in my life that have led me to this point, and I think now it's about integrating all of that and figuring out which patterns I want to keep and which patterns I want to throw away. And to be honest, I think most of them are going to be thrown away. So, yeah, but I'm actually excited to be doing these videos because I feel like I'm going to be watching myself, 100 days from now, 365 days from now, and I'm going to be a whole different person. And I find that exciting. Like it's terrifying and exciting at the same time. And yeah, I want you to know that if you're feeling stuck, because I've felt stuck so many times in my life, and like I said, I've made these big leaps and I've made these big changes. And so it's like I already know what that feels like. But if you're feeling stuck and you can't get to this messy middle that I'm in, like I'm basically in the messy middle. Just make the decision and commit to it. Decide what you want to do and commit. And just know that like this life, we only get to go around once, right? Why would you do it feeling miserable every day? And I think, Tony and Jay talk about this as well. It's like, we have a limited time on Earth. And so in that time, we need to be growing to feel like we have a purpose, like we're fulfilling our destiny. Or he doesn't talk about that, but like if you're not moving, if you're not growing, you're dead. He's like the only people who aren't uh growing right now are people who are in the cemetery. So I just I'm so happy I heard that podcast when I did. It's such an inspiration And it also, like I said, at first it kind of hit me right in the gut, like, oh man, this year of no plans sounds like I'm not doing anything. I'm not making any decisions. I'm not committing to anything. But in fact, it's kind of the opposite. Like I'm committing, I made the decision to, discontinue these patterns that I've been stuck in. And I've committed to it so much so that I'm, you know, gonna just do this year things that I've been talking about wanting to do, but I keep making excuses like, oh, I don't have the money or I don't have the time. And it's like, well, I have money, I don't have a lot of money, but I have money and now I have the time. So now there's no excuses. And that that decision and committing to it was one of the scariest I've made so far. And I'm just happy you're going to be on this wild ride with me. So yeah, if you have time, check out the Tony Robbins and Jay Shetty podcast. I thought that was really good. And if you ever get a chance to do, I know that a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people. People, I know like Tony Robbins and his friends have been doing more virtual events. And so if you're in a different country, if you're, it doesn't matter where you're at, as long as you have a computer, and I think like 3 days, and it's like 3 full days. Let me tell you, when I did it, it was like 8 in the morning to I think 10 p.m. Like he goes full out and so if you have the time, actually I'm sorry, you should make the time to check out one of these events. Even just if you're curious about like what do these people talk about. But I know just from reading some of these things, go reading some of like Tony's stuff, going to the events like this, because there's other people that are doing events like this that aren't Tony Robbins, but it's really cool to witness and experience it, and it's so much different than like school, right? It's so much different than like learning in a classroom and you're just sitting all day and you're just writing everything out. They include a lot of like movement and storytelling and all this other stuff. It's really cool. But yeah, I'm excited you're here, and I hope you join me tomorrow for another day in the year of no plans. Thank you.